The remains of 49 anti-apartheid activists exiled in Zambia and Zimbabwe will return home today. Families will gather at the Waterkloof Airforce Base in Centurion as part of the government's Exile repatriation program. Our reporter Linda Mnisi joins us live from Woodmead in Johannesburg with one of the families. Linda, you are with the family of Nomakhosazana Mgabaza, a professional nurse who worked in Zambia. Talk to us about what you're hearing from her family and tell us a little bit about her as well.
All right, Naledi, it's an important day for these families, especially in light of the fact that South Africa is celebrating 30 years of democracy. It's quite poignant that this moment happens just as the country celebrates that 30 years. It's been discussions over discussions and families expressing their wishes for their loved ones to be repatriated and considering the contribution that they had in the struggle against apartheid and the freedom that is now attained and celebrated by you and I. You speak about those family members and the family member rather that I'm with right now. And this is the family of Edna Nomakhosazana Mgabaza, who died in 1987 in Zimbabwe. Now, she worked as a nurse in Zambia before moving to Zimbabwe. In fact, with what I have right in front of me, she had actually treated the former ANC Secretary General Duma Nokwe, and she's had quite an encounter with many of the freedom fighters working to assist them during those days. But I'm joined now by Catherine Zigalala. She is her niece. Thank you so much for joining us, Ma'am Catherine. Quite an important day. I wonder how your family is feeling this morning, given the journey that you've had to travel to get to this point.
You know, we are so relieved. I must say it is absolutely amazing that you always had this dream and it's finally coming to fruition. Unfortunately, her mother, who had wished that she would see her before she died, was always saying, when are they coming back? When are they coming back? So when we were in Botswana, the mother actually came and she was in a wheelchair, traveled all by the train all the way from Port Elizabeth to come and see Edna, and she saw her for the last time in October 1987, and then Edna passed away.
Yeah. Talk to us about when your family moved to Exile, and during that time, what was happening?
Okay, my family moved in 1960. You must remember that time with the anti-apartheid action around the world, the struggle was being fought from all angles. So we left in 1960 and she followed in 1964 to go and help with the Zambian government, with the government hospitals, and also helping with the ANC logistics and nursing ANC cadres.
Talk to us then about her contribution in the struggle for apartheid. I mean, you know, there are different heroes who are in our history books. They speak about how they were quite defiant during those times, but hers was quite important, nursing freedom fighters.
Yes, it was very significant. Like I say, in a war, there are all sorts of casualties. And there are also logistics to run. Now, there's a little story about how she had a Mini Cooper, and O.R. Tambo, every time he was in Zambia, used to be transported in that car because apparently it was the only car available to the movement at that time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And looking down memory lane, South Africa celebrating 30 years of freedom, do you think her efforts were not in vain, considering where we are as a country today?
Well, it's a two-edged sword, I must say, because we are colonized for many, many years, over 300 years. Now, that's not an easy feat to overcome that kind of apartheid. So I must say she really contributed her whole life. I mean, after qualifying, she went and worked as a nurse, and she never came back. Yeah, alive.
Sure. And of course, you know, having interacted with many struggle icons, the people that we know as struggle icons, one of the remains that are coming back also today are that of Dumanoka, the former Secretary General of the ANC. And I know as a family you're quoted as having said he had actually died in your aunt's hands.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
Well, that's absolutely true. Apparently, on the day that he passed, the family had gone to see him. Abonosizwe and I mean, Nosizwe was just a teenager. I think she was about 16, 17 with the other sisters. So they were like, "Unjalo tata, unjalo tata," and she had to come to them and say, "Okay, come, let's sit down. It's all over." And they could not believe it.
Sure.
Yes, that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah. Lastly, we've run out of time. Talk to us about the logistics then. Today, the mortal remains are coming back to South Africa, and then at a later stage, you as a family are going to get an opportunity to lay her to rest. What are those arrangements looking like for you as a family? Are you going to be laying her to rest with her mother, who would have wished to see her, or have you had made different arrangements?
Well, she's arriving today. It would have been nice to lay her with her mother in Port Elizabeth. But unfortunately, the undertakers there say that the soil is too soft to carry 2 coffins. So now she's going to be buried at West Park Cemetery at the Heroes Acres when she finally arrives, when they finally arrange for the funerals. But other families are going to be laying their loved ones in different provinces.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for your time. Quite an important day there, Naledi. That is Catherine Zigalala talking to us about the significance of this moment, the relief on her face as she, speaks about this moment. Earlier on, before we went on air, she was telling me about the process that was involved in getting to this point and counting about 5 years of conversations and back and forths. But today, they're quite relieved that they'll be receiving those remains. That program will be happening later this afternoon. Naledi?
Yeah, we'll keep you updated as well. Linda Mnisi there speaking to us. And now we expand the conversation.